So on your feet, first find your feet and try to ground yourself. Heel, lifting up the toes, feel the heel. Notice if your weight is equal on both sides, and then lay the toes down, coming across that midfoot to the inside ball of the foot, and then settling a little weight on the outside ball of the foot too, and just letting the toes be relaxed, not clenching or curling. Notice if your feet are under you, facing forward, hopefully. And then we're going to do our heel raises straight up through the top of our head. So if you don't feel straight, take a moment to kind of find a neutral pelvis. So in lying down, we do this often, but you can also do it in standing by just extending and tucking under and find a neutral. So a lot of people walk around with their back very arched, and that's often a creation of a lot of pain in the back and the hips. So if you think that you have a lot of arch, maybe try tucking under a little and just pulling in the belly and see how that feels. And then for our heel raises, we're coming straight up through the very top of the head. So coming up on both front balls of the feet and straight down. Inhaling up and exhaling slowly down. Now, if you don't need the chair, you can use this as a balance challenge, coming up and straight down. But if you feel yourself launching forward when you don't use the chair, put at least a fingertip to kind of guide you straight up and straight down. I'm going to do 10 more. Nice and slow on the exhale and the lowering. Inhaling up, exhaling down with control. If you're very strong in this, you could try to do it single-legged. So you could do 5 on one leg and then 5 on the other. Probably will want a chair if you're doing single-legged. Good, keeping your back in neutral. Good, keep breathing. Good. All right, go ahead and let those come down. Put one foot back and one leg forward, giving yourself a little bit of a stretch in the calf. So the back heel doesn't have to be all the way down, but try to straighten out the knee for the first stretch, for the gastroc, which is the more superficial muscle. And then push the knee down as far as it wants to go. And then just lunging forward, using the chair as needed to give yourself a stretch in the calf. Take a breath here, inhale into any tightness you feel, and then allow the knee to bend and see if you can push down into a little bit of a bent knee. Good. And then inhale out of that and switch legs. So you could do a lot more repetitions of heel raises. We're just using them to sort of wake up the body, and we're going to go through lots of muscles. So we're just going to do a few of them, but you could do 30 if you wanted to get stronger calves. So other leg back, just inhaling, pushing the heel down with a nice straight knee, lunging forward to whatever feels comfortable. And then just take a breath with a little bit of a bent knee and see if you can push your heel down with a little more bent knee. That'll drive the stretch a little bit deeper. Good, and inhale up. Now, if you want to have your chair so that you can come all the way down to seated, we're going to do 15 times all the way down and all the way back up to standing. So sit to start and get your feet right under you with your feet planted, hip distance apart, knees facing right over the toes. Pull your stomach in, find that neutral spine. And then we're not going to lose neutral as we rise to standing. So this seems simple because we do this all day long, getting up and down. But we're going to lift with the heart, inhaling up, using the legs with control and keeping the spine neutral, which is probably something you don't usually do. So go ahead and inhale, weight the feet, lift through the heart, straight up, and then lower slowly down. You can come all the way to seated if you want, or you can just hover and then come straight back up. So waking up the quads now and the glutes. If you come to seated, just spend a second there before you plant your feet and lift back up. So the motion is an L, forward and up, down and back. Lifting with the heart as you come forward and up, keeping the knees facing right over the toes. A lot of times we sort of let them kiss. Try to control them with the hips. Good, and then try to keep breathing. And if you don't want to go all the way to seated, you could come back into a chair pose and come back up as if you're going to sit and back up. It's good to practice actually sitting down because it brings you further back. And then you can practice keeping a neutral spine while you come back up. Good, a few more. As you come up to standing, you can squeeze your glutes just for a second before you release and come back down. Good. Last one. I didn't really count. Sorry. There's going to be a mutiny about my counting. All right, good. So when you sit to stand during the day, try to be a little bit more mindful about it than maybe you usually are. And
Robin, you
yes.
mentioned that we don't usually do that. How do we usually do? I'm not aware of how I get up and down. What was different about that?
Well, people usually have their feet either way under them and they kind of go, ugh, and they push themselves up. That's something you see a lot. Kind of launching their heart down, using their spine and then kind of pushing up. Or people use their arms. Elderly people do this a lot, and they kind of like lift themselves up. So maintaining the ability to actually control it with your own muscles is important for healthier aging. All right, so now we're going to put our fingers on the back again, and we're going to wake up our hamstrings in the back of the leg. So keeping the right foot grounded, we're going to lift up the left knee, keeping the knees right in line and the left knee facing the ground. And we're going to just extend it straight and bend it up as far as you can. So keeping the knee straight down though, not letting it come forward as you bend it. So really isolating the hamstring and keep on breathing. Good. So as far up as you can go, shortening the hamstring, keeping the toes a little flexed is good. And then lowering slowly, not letting it drop. Feeling that grounded right foot, the stabilizing hip is working pretty hard just to stand. You can also use this as a balance challenge by just letting go. Good, a few more. So noticing how you can get activation and strengthening of the muscle without going to the gym and doing a bunch of curls. Just with your body weight, you can really do a lot. Good, let's switch legs. So left leg grounded now, and the right leg unweighted, nice and tall, neutral spine still. And then if you want to balance, you're just going to let go of your chair and then extend and bend, keeping the knee facing right towards the floor though. Good, keep breathing. So as you do this, try to just keep your mind on the hamstring and maybe on the standing leg. Try to ignore any chatter or any comparison or any judgment. How's everyone doing?
My left hamstrings were quick to sort of do a Charlie horse. Is that?
Better work on it. Is that the leg that the hip is challenged right now too?
No, it's
one?
the opposite.
Okay, couple more. Then we'll stretch that hamstring out. Good. Go ahead and lower down. Step it out a little bit. We're going to come into a downward facing dog to stretch that out. So coming to the back of the mat, wide feet right under the hips. Inhale up. Lift the heart, extend the top of the spine, bend the knees and slide down, bringing the arms forward nice and strong through the shoulders. And then feel the hamstrings. So lift the tailbone up high and try to feel the hamstrings that you were just working, stretching out. So if you can, really lifting the tailbone, don't even worry about the heels. Lift the hamstring away from the back of the knees. Lift the tailbone away from the back of the knees, stretching out the hamstring. Big breath here, and then start pedaling the feet, giving a little more stretch to the calves. Good. And then we're going to walk forward and come back up into standing. So just go ahead and walk your feet forward. Coming into a forward fold first. Let the head drop. Let the chest rest on the thighs and just let the head go. Try to feel the stretch as you inhale deeply all the way up between the shoulder blades, letting the head hang like dead weight. And then tuck the tailbone under, tuck the tummy in and roll up slowly back to standing. Good. And then we're going to stretch out the quad real quick in standing too. So go ahead and grab hold of your ankle or your shin, or if you need a strap, you can put a strap around your foot. And then we're going to just stand up very tall and reach the knee down towards the ground. Tuck the tummy in and kind of push the hip forward on that leg that you're stretching, giving yourself a stretch in the whole front of the leg, all the way up into the front of the hip. Good, nice big breath here. And exhale, let it go slowly, and then switch sides. So as you're stretching the knee, the quad, keep the knee down towards the ground. Try not to let it come out to the side or forward. And if you need to have the knee less bent to keep the knee straight down, that's fine. Kneecap should be pointing toward the floor. So pull the tummy in a little bit, squeeze the hip, that glute muscle, pushing the whole thigh forward a little bit as you pull your foot up, giving yourself a stretch in the entire front of the leg from the knee all the way up into the hip. Good. One more inhale and exhale, let it go. Good. We're going to do our side of our hip also in standing today. So you can use the chair if you need to. We're going to stand up nice and tall, neutral spine still. Stand on that right standing leg, and we're going to come out at about a 45-degree angle back into the side. If you can, use this as a challenge for your balance. Good. So feeling those muscles that we work when we're laying on our sides. If you don't like laying on your side, this is a really good way to work those muscles. Good. Two more. Good, and then switch. So if you see my leg is not coming straight out, it's coming kind of leading with the heel. at about a 45-degree angle. That'll really isolate the gluteus medius versus using your hip flexors to compensate. Definitely don't want to be coming forward. Good, so feeling the standing leg working hard too. That's the beauty of doing it in standing, is you get both sides at once. One doing a closed chain and one doing an open chain, but both working. Good, and relax, shake, 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 shake. All right, I'm gonna do one more thing here while we're standing up, which is do our balance. So we've already done a little bit of balance, but we're gonna do our clock. So this is a really good one for stabilization at the knee and the hip and for balance. So if you need a chair nearby, please be safe. Stabilize at the belly, keeping the core strong. And then we're going to tap with the heel forward, letting the standing knee bend, trying to keep it facing straight forward, controlling the knee, kneecap going out over the first or second toe as you do your clock. So we're working the quad again here. Go around 2 times, 12 o'clock, 1:30, 3 o'clock, 4:30, and 6 o'clock. Good. Okay, switch legs. Keeping a stable knee if you can. If it's wiggling around, that's okay. That's just getting stronger. But imagine that the kneecap is going out over the toes. And like I said, if you need a chair for safety, just put a fingertip on the chair. 2 times around the clock. Keep breathing. Sharon's laughing.
You said fingertip, but I'm grabbing.
All right, relax. Okay, we are going to come down and we're going to do one more downward facing dog and then some prep for the belly and a few things on the hands and knees, and then we'll come to the arms. So inhaling up. Second downward facing dog of the day, bend the knees, keep the tailbone lifted as you slide forward. Remember always to be pushing strongly with your wide hands into the mat so that those shoulders are super active. You feel your shoulder blades coming out and towards the floor. So you're never just collapsing into the ground or into the shoulder. Good, let's do a couple breaths here, pedaling and lifting the tailbone. Good. And then we're gonna come forward, bring the heart forward over the hands. And hold this for just a couple breaths, lifting the tummy, still pushing super strongly. One more inhale and then lower the knees slowly to the floor. Try to keep the heart right over the hands as you do that. Good. So we're going to do 3 rounds of the downward facing dog prep, as we call it, tucking the knees under in this nice strong tabletop position. So the tailbone is going away from the top of the head, nice long spine, neutral spine. Tuck the chin up and keep the back of the neck really long. And then push into the ground even more. Even if you think you are, push harder so that your shoulders are really active. Hold that position. Toes are tucked under. Lift the knees about 2 inches off the ground. Inhaling up. And hold that position for 2 full breaths. Letting you fully exhale. Inhaling fully. Exhale fully. And lower down slowly. If you want to challenge yourself even more, you can just hold it for longer. Taking an inhale back in quadruped, exhale fully, and then inhale, lift the knees. Full exhale. Keeping the shoulders strong and active. Chin is tucked, your spine is long. Lower down slowly. Good, one more here. So full exhale and then inhale up. Nice strong shoulders. Tuck that chin, nice long neck. Good. Keeping the tummy pulled in tight. And exhale down. Beautiful. Sit back into child's pose. Give yourself a rest. If you want, you can be in prayer pose instead. Just let yourself go for a moment. Letting the forehead come into the mat. Just totally release any tension that just developed. If you'd like, you can bring your arms down by your sides. Letting that thoracic spine kind of open up and curl. And take a couple breaths here. See if you can feel the ribs expanding as you breathe. Bring attention to the back ribs. And let the forehead go, let the neck go. Let the belly sag. Good. I'm going to come back up on an inhale to a quadruped position. Keeping the knees right under the hips. Pushing still with those hands into the mat. Push away and then see if you can rotate that antecubital fossa in the front of the elbow towards the front. So as you do that, your arms spiral outward. Elbows are facing forward, shoulder blades are engaged. Pull the belly button up. Actively take a couple breaths to tailbone reach one way, top of the head reach the other way. Tucking the chin, really lengthening, really active here. And then we're going to do 8 on each leg and arm. So if you can, go straight into opposite arm and leg, pulling the belly button up toward the spine to prepare so that you're not twisting. Slide the right leg out and left arm up. Inhaling up, come all the way up, find your balance, and exhale slowly down. Inhaling up, finding your balance. Trying not to twist the body, moving very slowly so that you can move with your breath. On that standing arm, keep rotating so that you have your arm spiral. Shoulder blade is engaged. And when you're lifting one arm and one leg, imagine the shoulder blade coming towards the glute. So kind of a shortening of the back of the body at a diagonal. Good. About halfway there. Keep breathing. Reaching the fingernails away from the toes. Good. Check your chin, make sure your chin is still tucked so that your forehead is facing towards the mat. You're doing great. 2 more. Good, last one. Beautiful. And sit back again into a prayer or a child's pose. Sit into a prayer pose. You can really use this as a chance to extend the upper back. Putting the hands down and then kind of pulling the hips back. Giving yourself a nice extension through the thoracic spine and a nice stretch under the armpits. One more breath here. Good. So notice within yourself, if that feels hard, what sort of things go through your mind, or are you able to stay in your body and just experience it? Notice when you're doing the different exercises that challenge you, what messages you give yourself. And try to give yourself positive messages. So try not to be hard on yourself, because it's beautiful and wonderful that you're here and working on it. And we just need to give each other and ourselves loving messages. So we're going to do a few cat camel, cat cow. You're going to tuck the tailbone under, lifting the tummy up and letting the head drop. Coming into a mad cat. Take an inhale here and let the head go, dropping down. Pull the pubic bone toward the nose. Inhale deeply. Feel the ribs expand and the mid-thoracic get a stretch, and then exhale. Let the tailbone go up. Shoulder blades come back. Heart lifts, neck extends. 2 more. Mad cat, tucking under fluidly through the spine. Pushing away with the hands, let the head go. And then reverse. Trying to move with the breath in whatever way feels right in your body. Good, come back to neutral, and then we're going to roll over onto our back. So if you'd like to come into seated, and we can roll down together using our core. So we've done our calves and our hamstrings, our quads, our glutes, well, our glute medius. We've done some back work, a little bit of glute max. Now we're going to do some core and a little bit more of our gluteus maximus. So sit up nice and straight, and then curl down slowly. If you can, reach the arms in front, but don't touch the legs. Tuck the tailbone under and roll down slowly with control through your core onto your back. If you need to use your hands walking down the legs, that's fine. And then once we're on our back, we're going to find our neutral spine again. So we did this in standing. Now we're going to do this lying down. So extending the tailbone into the mat and then tucking, extending and tucking, and find your neutral right in the middle. Take a deep inhale. See if you're able to draw it deep into the belly again. And then exhale. Pull the belly button in tight. Hold it there. Check to see if you have tension inside of your hip bones by the ASIS in the front. And check if you still have neutral spine. If you don't, start over. If you do, go into whatever level you're at. So if you can, bring your legs up without losing neutral. We're going to reach out and extend down a ways, just to the edge, back up and in. If this is hard for you, then you're going to do marching. You can either have your legs on the ground and march like this, or you can bring one leg and then the other up and tap. So that is 3 different levels of working the transverse abdominis core muscles. So just work wherever you are. And if you're able to reach the leg out, but not come down, that's good too. Just work to your edge. And your edge means where you're about to lose neutral spine, or about to start compensating, or about to scream and yell at me. Love you. Good, keep going. If you're shaking but keeping a neutral spine, that's perfect. So challenge yourself.
Robin,
neutral.
this is the exercise that makes the hip make that thunk noise. Should I avoid doing the thunk?
Try turning your knee out a little bit. opening up the hip a little, and then try it.
Still clunks.
Can you do a shorter range and not clunk?
Yeah, yes. So I should
Do
avoid the
that.
clunk. Okay,
Try not to clunk.
all right.
All right, go ahead and bring your feet back down to the ground. Stretch your legs out long, arms overhead, and stretch out the front of you. Take a stretch like you just woke up in the morning. Toes reaching one way, arms reaching the other. Good. And then come back up, knees bent. And then we're going to bring our legs up again. Keep that neutral spine. Find it again if you need to. Tighten the tummy, drawing the belly button down towards the spine, always making your waist smaller and pushing down into the floor, never pushing up. And then lift the legs up again. Extend the knees as far as you can. Turn the legs out a little bit. If your knees can't straighten, that's okay. And we're going to inhale down. Little ways, exhale back up. I'd rather you do about a 2-inch motion than start compensating with other muscles. And if this is hard on the hips, you can use the knees bent and focus on the string between the belly button and the knees. So inhaling away, exhale, pull the belly button in. Imagine that that is what's drawing the knees towards you again. Little motions is better than big here. Notice your shoulders and your jaw. Are you able to keep the shoulders kind of relaxed and down? Is your jaw clenching? One more, inhale and exhale. Good, knees into chest. Bring them all the way into the armpits if you can, coming into happy baby. If this is too much hip flexion, you can keep your knees further away from the armpits. Coming into happy baby, take a couple breaths and let the tailbone float and the sacrum float. And rock back and forth, and then come to center. And press the knees into the armpits. See if you can feel a nice stretch of the back there. If you're pinching in the hips too much, just release and grab behind the thighs and rock out that way. Good. Bringing the legs back down. We're going to do one more for the belly. So obliques. And we're going to do what we did last time, which is shortening the ribs towards the hip across on the exhale. So you can do this in a variety of ways. You can support one hand under your head, letting your neck stay relaxed and long, and you can keep your feet on the floor and just imagine lifting the ribs, right ribs towards left hip, and inhaling as you come flatter. Exhaling as you lift the left ribs to right hip. Inhale flat. If that feels like a good place to be, that's very safe on your low back, and you can practice here. We're going to do 6 more on each side. If you want, you can lift your legs up, keeping them at 90-90. And if you want, you can reach the leg out, controlling it back in. Reaching out, controlling in, focusing on a really long neck. One more. Exhale across, inhale down. Good, relax. Knees into your chest again. This time just grab behind the thighs and kind of roll the hips around. So in a sort of a figure 8 position. And try to just release that mid back, right below the shoulder blades and the sacrum. which is the very bottom triangle of the spine. So rocking your knees around in little figure eights, controlling it with the hand, giving yourself a little massage. Good. All right, we're going to do a few bridges. So keeping the feet hip distance apart, we're coming back to the gluteus maximus and the back line of the body, the back extensors for a few moments. So feet are grounded in this one, just like when we're standing, your heel, ball of the foot, outside of the foot are all grounded. Toes are relaxed. Knees are facing forward in line with the hips, and the feet are facing forward in line with the knees and hips. And then we're just going to inhale, and then as we exhale, start curling up. Unless you have an osteoporotic spine, then you'll lift straight up. So curling up, remembering one vertebrae at a time, all the way up to the shoulders, but don't contract the neck and don't put pressure on the neck. So the shoulders are weight bearing, but the neck should still be relaxed. And then curl back down through each vertebrae, trying to notice them all as separate entities. Imagining in your mind's eye every single vertebrae moving separately, and then release fully at the bottom. Curling up again, inhaling if that feels right as you come up, holding at the top. I like to take an inhale at the top again and then exhale as I come down slowly through each vertebrae. Release fully at the bottom. Inhale as you start curling. If your hamstrings are cramping, give them a little stretch. All the way up and squeeze. Exhale as you come down. If you want to, you can do some single leg challenges at the top for a couple repetitions. So instead of just gliding up through the vertebrae and gliding back down, which is a very peaceful thing to do, moving with the breath. But if you want to challenge your glutes a little more, lift one leg at the top and hold that. Reach the leg out if you want. Keep your hips level. Switch sides. That'll make sure you really got your gluteus maximus. And then come down slowly. Good, just a couple more. Curling up, inhaling. Notice if it's a difference between when you first started doing this and now, if the right and the left sides are more even, if there's maybe more fluidity to the spinal curving. And try to just keep your mind's eye in the spine. Give it some attention. Beautiful. Last one coming down. Good. Widen your feet to the edge of the mat. Widen your arms if you can. I can't because I hit a wall. Widen your arms out in a T. And then we're going to let the knees fall side to side. So keeping the feet a little bit wide is going to help protect the low back. We're going to just do windshield wipers of the knees, moving in a range that feels good to you. This should not feel painful, as no stretch or movement ever should. We're just moving back and forth, getting an internal rotation stretch on one leg, and a little bit of twisting through the spine. Gently back and forth a couple more times. Try to keep the shoulders relaxed and down into the mat, opening up the chest. And just move with whatever range you have that feels good in your own body. That can look very different from what I'm doing, and that's okay. There's no reason to compare. I am simply giving you suggestions. Good. Come back up to center. And we're going to roll back over and do a little arm push-up so that we've really gotten our whole body from feet to head. So come into your all four position if you want to work there. Or you could come forward more, kind of rolling off of the kneecap. Or you could come into a full push-up position like this. So wherever you are, my arms are strong-ish, but they don't love to do lots of push-ups. So I'm going to be here. You be wherever you want, and we're going to do 10 push-ups together. So get your hands under your shoulders to start, whatever position you're in. And for the first 10, we'll do a few more for the triceps, but for the first 10, we're going to let our arms come out and widen, and our chest comes straight down. Exhale, straight up. Inhale down. Exhale up. Good. So if you feel any pinching, you can widen your hands a little bit if there's any pinching in the shoulder. And you can always, after some number, you could come into a less challenging position. So inhaling heart down, exhaling up. Good. Now come into all four position. And we're just going to do 5 where we keep our elbows tucked in. So do that arm spiral that I was talking about, where you roll your antecubital fossa forward, arm spiral in an outward position. So the elbow is facing straight back towards the hips. And then we're going to lower down, keeping the elbow facing towards the hip. Try to bring the chest towards the floor and then push straight back up. So you can adjust your hips if you need to, coming down and straight back up. Try not to lead with the nose, but lead with the heart coming towards the floor and straight up. If you are super strong, you can do this in a push-up position of your choice. But starting, good, relax. So come into a seated position for a moment. Starting in that quadruped position for working the arms is a really nice way to sort of work into things. The other thing to do is to go to the wall like we've done before and push up into the wall, and then kind of gradually increase your angle so that you're coming more and more into a push-up position. But using the quadruped position is a good way to go too. All right, in this position, find your sit bones again. We're going to take a couple breaths. And we're going to open up our chest and open up our neck, and then we will do our meditation. So a couple breaths, settle down into your sit bones, rock, find them if you need to, move your soft tissues if you need to. And then let's bring our arms up to our cheeks. We're just going to do 4 times, elbows together, tucking the chin, elongating the back of the neck. Elbows apart, elbows together, elbows apart, elbows together, open up, exhale forward, and inhale, open up. Good. Okay, now tuck the chin and notice if there's any tension along the neck. Probably yes. So I'm going to have you reach up with your opposite arm. So if you're working on your left side, use your right hand and give yourself little circles along the upper trapezius in this upper part of the shoulder. And then come up into the neck. And if you want, you can reach around so that your elbow is more open and you're able to reach around. Keep going circles along the little ropey muscles that are on the side of the spine. So you have the center of your spine and then little ropey muscles along the side. Just kind of work up them with little circles, giving them a little circulation, and then come up into the base of the neck and work from the middle towards the outside, right along the base of the spine. So there are lots of muscles that attach there. So just finding them and giving them little circles, little bit of love. This is good for headaches. If you feel a really tight spot, you can hold on to it and breathe a breath into it. Good, and then relax and come to the other side, opening up the last shoulder here. Little circles, listening to your body, saying, what do you like? Good, and then coming up into the neck, reaching around. If that feels more comfortable, finding those little ropey muscles and just kind of strumming across them or doing circles around them, up towards the head. And then working from the middle out along the edge of the cranium, right along towards sort of the jaw. Good, one more time, finding the sore spots. Inhale into anything that feels really sore while you just press into it. And let it go away. Good. All right, my friends, good job. We worked out all the way from our feet up towards our head. And now it's time for a relaxation meditation. So please get comfortable. And I will try to end at 1. We have about 7 minutes. So go ahead and get comfortable on your back. If you have your chair nearby, you can come into my favorite spinal rest position like this. So that your legs are supported. I'm a little bit tall for this chair, but your legs are supported. Your knees should be at about 90. Mine can't be if I'm supported on this chair. Ideally, your knees and hips are at 90 and you're totally relaxed. So giving yourself a little traction through the low back, it just really takes all of the pressure off of the spine. So if that feels good to you, you can try that. I recommend doing that for 10 minutes every day to keep yourself in proper alignment. All right, scan your body again, check in on your energy. So to start today, we looked at how our body felt and how our energy felt, what kind of quality it was buzzing around. So check again and see what you would call it now. And you really don't need to label it with words, just sort of feel it. Good. So we're going to come down from our head through our feet and actively relax. If you like the healing light meditation, you can envision a disc of light coming down and helping you relax and healing as you go. If you've done that one with me. Otherwise, we can just focus on each area and try to actively let it go. So the best way to do that, starting at the head, is if you feel tension in the scalp or the forehead or maybe between the eyes, lift your eyebrows up and tighten it. Actually try to contract all the muscles first. Inhale and let it go. And as you let it go, try to really feel it just release. And then we can come to the eyeballs. And if the eyeballs feel tense, squeeze your eyes together tightly, activating all the little muscles around the eyes. And then relax. Try to leave those muscles to let go and let the eyeballs drop heavy. And coming to the back of the neck, tuck the chin, push the head into the mat, and then release. Let the back of the neck go, coming down into the shoulders. Checking in with the jaw, wiggle it back and forth, open and close a little, and then let it hang. Let it relax, let your teeth come apart, let your tongue be heavy. Coming down through the throat. Feel a warmth around your throat. Try to feel an openness, a willingness to communicate, a willingness to speak truth. Coming down through the shoulders and the heart. Try to notice the heart. See if you can feel a connection to something beyond you. See if you can allow your heart to trust and open just a little bit. See if you can feel a softening, a giving. And then notice between the shoulder blades, and if you have tension there, squeeze the shoulder blades back and down and together, and then let it go. Coming down through the belly, notice your digestion. Notice the belly being strong but soft. Notice the low back releasing into the floor. If you feel tension, arch your back a little bit, pushing the tailbone into the floor, and then release, let it go. Let the legs roll wherever they want. Coming down through the belly to the pelvis. Try to notice energy there. See if you can feel a creative drive through the pelvis. See if you can feel a warmth. And then come down through the hips. Let the hips go. Squeeze the glutes if you feel tension. Push the knees down into the floor, tightening the quads. Tighten the whole leg. Squeeze the toes even, and then let it go. Feel a relaxation like a warm rain coming all the way from the head, all the way down through your arms. Feel through your fingertips a wonderful sense of energy. A warm rain washing down, relaxing all the way down to your toes. And then in silence for another minute or so, just enjoy the feeling of being relaxed and breathe. If your mind starts to wander, bring it back to the breath or the energy in your fingertips. Beautiful. Go ahead and wiggle your body. Bring your mind into your body if it left. Bend your knees. Roll over onto your side. As you come up to a seated position, Try to maintain your gaze within even as you open your eyes. A soft gaze. And if you prefer to stay in a meditative state for longer, you're welcome to. And I thank you all for practicing. A lot of you are Black, but namaste. Love you.
Thank you.
Love you, Robin. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Bye.
Robin. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Right.